Effort estimation. Before we go further, please keep in mind that estimating RPA projects is a highly complex activity, as many challenges arise in development and there's rarely the possibility to deep dive into a process prior to development to a level that enables a fully accurate estimation to be provided. However, here are some guidelines to follow when estimating the workload. First and foremost, the effort estimation is done in the analysis phase before any development is started, as the process will need to be fully and thoroughly understood first. This means working together with the BAs, project managers and SMEs to get a complete picture of the complexity. Next, a high-level breakdown of the process is required. For very large processes, the first breakdown should be by logical components. But for smaller processes, the breakdown can go to the XAML file level. Any potential challenges should be identified by tackling the most complex parts of the automation, which is usually done using Studio. This doesn't mean getting into building the workflows, but to test and understand what is working and how, and what requires more complex techniques to be automated. For instance, we would need to see how reliable are the selectors in the application used, or if dealing with Citrix and image automation, how the more difficult steps can be automated. When estimating, it's never about how many steps or screens we have in our applications, but rather it is the complexity of the applications and business rules that greatly affect the development effort. Local exception handling needs to be incorporated for complex scenarios, and for business rule exceptions, we often require rollback actions to be implemented. Another factor is the knowledge level of the RPA developers involved. Make sure time is also included for configuring Orchestrator and creating any dashboards that might be needed for reporting. Apart from development, count in the unit testing and functional testing. Additional changes requested after the PDD sign-off should not be considered in the original effort estimation. Rather, in case such requests are made, additional time should be added. Also, for larger processes, multiple developers would likely work on the same project, and as the headcount increases, there may be reduced efficiency in using everyone, so some level of diminishing returns should be assumed. As you can see, there are many points in this list that are hard to quantify, and this is why RPA projects are hard to estimate in terms of development effort. And as a result, additional time should be factored in for unforeseen challenges, typically 30% or more, but this varies when the level of uncertainty rises or falls. Let's estimate the development effort for the Acme Process 4. Generate yearly report for vendor, which we automated as part of the RPA Developer Advanced Training. We're already familiar with the process, which should make the estimation easier. Let's assume that we have decided on a scalable solution using an orchestrator queue, so we have two sub-processes, Dispatcher and Performer. We're using two applications, Acme System 1 and Excel. The process is linear and fairly simple, so the complexity is low. But there is a bit of a difficulty in downloading reports and dealing with temporary files. We have tested the integration with Acme System 1 and it's working very well. No special need for handling exceptions, so just the typical handling in the framework is enough. As the process is not complex, we can already begin enumerating XAML files by counting the navigation files. Open and close files, downloading and creating the report files, and upload report file, netting us around 15 XAML files. If we can reuse some components, this will reduce time, but in this case, let's assume we need to develop everything. We can use the estimates in this table. For the dispatcher, 2 days for the entire subprocess. For the performer, the initialization should take 1 day, the report management 2 days, and the navigation 1 day. We can allocate 3 days for the integration of the components and functional testing. No special dashboards are required, so no time here. At the end, we add 30% more, and we get to 12 days of effort. But what about a process that we have not yet automated? Let's see how we estimate for Acme Process 2, Research Copy of Check. We encourage you to take a very close look at the PDD and make sure you thoroughly understand the process. It's all on the same Acme Test website we used for the RPA Developer Advanced Training under the User Options section. Feel free to pause the video and read through the document. Okay, we now fully understand the process, so we will use the same scalable solution with queues, and we have two sub-processes, Dispatcher and Performer. This time we have three applications we're using, Acme System 1, Acme System 3, and a PDF reader. The process has more business rules, so we set the process complexity to medium. We've already tested the integration from UiPath Studio to Acme System 1, so no news there. While testing Acme System 3, we found some challenges in the reliability of selectors. It seems that this application was not that well built. We need to create some reusable components in both System 1 and System 3, and we will reuse some of the components previously created. One important aspect, we have some strong requirements in terms of exception handling. Check the PDD for details. So obviously, we need a robust solution. Alright, let's get to the estimation. For the dispatcher, we will reuse components, so let's just allocate 1 day. For the performer, for initialization, we will reuse components from System 1, but also create some for System 3. The PDF processing is demanding, and we have a couple of invoice templates that require regular expressions for data extraction. 3 days. Navigation in both systems will require 2 days, while searching for the check in System 3 will need 4 days, due to the identified challenges and overhead for creating reusables. We'll allocate 5 days for integration and functional testing. Factoring in the additional 30% leads to a total of 22 days. Let's say we assign 2 developers on this project. We can increase the total number of man days to 24, and it can be completed in 12 days by the 2 developers. Alright, let's recap. We started with the solution architect role, and then for each of the 6 stages of an RPA project by them, we reviewed the UiPath